So my name is Nikolas Bosscher, and I represent the Government of Flanders at the Belgian Embassy. I believe we're the main donor for this project. And extension services have been an important topic for the Flemish government since 2008. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, I made a calculation of how much we invested since 2008 into extension services, and I was quite surprised myself to know that we've spent approximately 14 million euros in extension. 14. Most of these went to the Department of Agriculture Extension Services, approximately 38%. 10% to other government institutions. For example, we've also provided grants to UNAF, NRC, Department of Animal Health and Livestock. A big component of our funding for extension also goes to UN organizations, and then mainly the Food and Agriculture Organization, and then 15% to non-government organizations. So I must say it's been a big relief to me to see the positive results in extension, because it's me who advises my headquarters to invest in extension. So I think this is very positive, and I think we also need to congratulate the Department of Extension Services for this. Because even if all of us invest into extension services via non-governmental organizations, eventually it is often the extension worker from the government who is doing the actual implementation. So this proves that there's a lot of potential into extension services. And I think the main question that comes out of the presentation is, how can we now translate all these investments into extension into production, productivity increases, improved income, etc. So for me it's very clear that how this could happen is by looking at the efficiency and the effectiveness of the extension services, not only of the government but also from NGOs. So one main recommendation for me is really for everybody to look at these research results. It's a quite large sample, so it's representative for the entire nation, so you can believe these results. For that reason, I was also very pleased to see that Mr. Sokko accepted the results. We all know that the government is very varied when you come with findings, and they feel very easily criticized. But I think it's part of trying to improve, and it's not always critique. A lot of these findings help you to improve. But what I see as a challenge here is that there's a bit of a lack of a learning culture. So I think, especially at the government, there is a lot of reaction of looking back how the situation was. I think that is over. The world is changing, Malawi is changing, and I think we should look at all the research results and see what can we use for that to improve. So how can we have that learning attitude, not only at, I think it's very important at the government because they should lead here, but also at NGOs. We should not just be repeating what we're used to do. We should look at what we've done, try to learn from these research results, adapt, go further for implementation, look back again, see where can we do better, and then continuously improve. One thing that is also important to take away is that we have pockets of excellence. And we've seen that also throughout. I've been in a country since 2011. We've seen many positive results in projects where we can see the linkage between extension, adoption of technologies, and impact, improved household incomes, and improved production. The question I always have is, how long does this last? And is this something that is still lasting when the project is over? This is a main concern. This is a major concern for all the donors who are here in the country, because a lot of these activities are being projectized. And we need the government to take up these projects see what worked well and continue with it. So they can expand and just continue on the good practices that have been out there. And it's in fact for this reason that I've consistently advised my government to keep funding extension, but we also should have a broader picture of what is happening in the country. We did a research in 2013, I believe, and then another one in 2012, another one in 2014, where we also wanted to get a grasp of how does extension look in the country overall. We received a good report that provided us ideas, but we were not really satisfied. We wanted to know more why certain things work and why others didn't. So that's why we engaged with IFPRI for this 3-year project. If it depends on me, I would like to continue this. I think this is very useful information. I think we need this kind of information to improve on the extension services. There's so much money that's going into extension services. USAID came with big investment into extension. The European Union also came with a big investment in extension, and I believe DFID is also now moving forward. So, if these resources come in, how can we make best use of it? Then one point that Catherine also highlighted was on funding. I personally have been talking a lot with the minister, PSS, directors, trying to get the allocation for extension up. This year, the ministry increased the allocation for extension to 63 million kwacha last year, and it went up this year to 213 million. So it's a 3-fold increase. So I think we should applaud the government for that and encourage them to continue it. And I think these research results can be a good tool for DIAS to continue lobbying with the government to increase on the funding. But I think there's an important aspect. I think the government should now, my personal view on this is, the government should try now to focus on the regulation and the coordination of these extension activities. So much is happening. As Catherine highlighted, there are these pockets of good results, but there are also a lot of projects or initiatives where the results are not that good. So how can the government use their resources now to improve on all the activities that are already happening in the field? How can they make sure that the interventions that a lot of NGOs or a lot of their own extension workers are responding to a minimum quality standard that they want? How can the government now try to coordinate all the activities of the various extension players in the field to make sure that there's a minimum of overlap, that they complement each other, and that one project is building on another one, and also that's in line with their own vision? I think the situation we have to avoid now is that another layer of uncoordinated, fragmented activities are being planned now by the government. I don't think this will help a lot. And I know that this is the first reaction that happens when we ask not only the government, but we also ask NGOs if they, for example, develop a project. They immediately look at what are the activities that we're going to do, instead of having the broader picture and seeing what is happening, where can we come in, where can we add value, where can we complement. So it's another way of thinking, and I would really encourage the government to take on board this way of thinking. What is happening, where can we improve? My final remark will be on the extension strategy. I think the first time I provided input to the extension in terms of reference to this issue, if I remember well, was in 2014 or 2015. Today we're 2019. The strategy has not been launched yet. So please, the representatives of DIAS, push this forward. We know there's a lot of good things happening, We also know that the extension workers on the ground are doing quite good work. We know that the DADOs, they're putting a lot of energy. So the system itself, it's working, it can be improved. How can we improve that? Please release the strategy so everybody can get behind it, finance it, so we can improve on the delivery of the extension services in the country. So I will hold it here. Once again, thank you, Catherine, for a very good presentation. A big thanks for all the stakeholders involved, and of course to the government for the realization of the good results. And I would encourage you to keep up the good work. Thank you.